the biggest marketing and communications takeaways. I want to hear from each of you on what you think moved the needle the most, or something that happened that we should really keep an eye on moving forward, or maybe something that changed the game within our profession. And Thomas, I'm going to pass the baton to you first, and it better not be weather related.
Well, but my heart goes out to the people in the Midwest after the
True.
past two
Yes.
weeks. Um, but I think what really changed the needle is social media has always been an influence, and social media will always continue to be an influence. I think that there's going to be some changes happening in the next 6 months, 12 months, uh, and reality that boils down to it is we look at what happened on January 6th. That's coming from social media. We look at the continued who's getting censored, who's not getting censored, who's getting called up to Capitol Hill, who's not getting called up to Capitol Hill. The SEC is now looking into Elon Musk about violations of tweets and communications that move the markets. And so I think as communicators is social media. You need to be aware of it. You need to be able to adjust on the fly. When all of Facebook or Meta went down for one day, there were a number of companies that just pretty much stopped doing business for those hours. So my takeaway is be agile, be nimble, but also work on your crisis comms and crisis management. Just saying, hey, what happens if we get censored, or hey, what happens if our number one platform goes down? What are we going to do? So that's really what I'm watching in 2021 and in 2022 is what's going to happen with the social media platforms and the companies. Are there going to be breakups? Or are there not going to be breakups? Is there going to be a passing of blame for different things?
Yeah. And I think Web3 and the metaverse is going to be something else to watch as well moving forward, especially with Facebook changing their name, brands getting involved with that, NFTs. And that kind of goes into my key takeaway for the year. And I think it was the year of the influencer and name, image, and likeness. And I think people are starting to understand that, influencers have incredible value. I think brands understand that people like Mr. Beast. If you're not familiar who Mr. Beast is, he's got 80 plus million followers on YouTube. He put out a Squid Game video that had over 110 million views within a week. That was more than Squid Game got on Netflix. And he did it on a $3.5 million budget. He's a guy that is moving the needle, whether it's selling merchandise. And I think that's the new direction of where brands are really putting their focus on, is that digital advertising. And I think that's something to keep an eye on. And kind of on that note, with the name, image, and likeness, I think NFTs and cryptocurrency in the influencer space is something to monitor. And this past week, we actually saw this in college football. There was a running back, Trevor Etienne. His brother was a running back for Clemson, was drafted in the first round by the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he has not made his college decision yet. And again, we've spoken about this in the past, but as of this year, college athletes are allowed to capitalize on their name, image, and likeness. They can get brand deals. There's certain rules in place on whether or not schools can license their logos. But what I think is interesting is that to commemorate his college decision, he's partnering with a company called Humble. I don't know how to say it. It's a publicly traded Web3 blockchain company to launch a line of NFTs. And he's doing different NFTs for each college. And so fans can buy the NFTs for the colleges that he would like to go to, whether it's Florida State, Clemson, Georgia, whatever. And that could potentially influence his decision. So I think this is going to be a really interesting space to follow. And I'm going to give one more line and then I'll turn it over to you guys. But Adweek actually talked to influencers about what criteria they look for when signing a brand deal. And the creators shared that they want businesses to prove that they've done their research. They want, they value their time that goes into each deliverable, and, they want to have like that creative freedom. And so it's not just brands saying, all right, who's the biggest TikToker right now? Or who's the biggest YouTube personality? Like, why do I want that person aligned with my brand? So I think it's going to be a fascinating space to continue to follow and into 2022 and beyond.
When you talk about influencers, for me, it's about brands who got their DEI influencer marketing strategies right. There were quite a few down the road. If you think about the Doritos and all
Mhm.
the commercials, and they're amplifying Black voices. Nordstrom is another one. They announced they have a 5-year plan to promote racial equality, promote awareness for Black-owned products available at their stores, those kinds of things. So for me, that is so important to see more of that. And I hope that continues down the line as, folks are putting together their marketing strategies. But if you think about the year 2020 and 21, that is an important thing to think about. And as companies continue with those marketing strategies, that's going to be even more important and critical moving forward.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that I think we're starting to see change more is crediting, the biopic influencers that are actually driving change on social media. Because, I think it was a controversy, a year and a half ago. There was the Renegade Dance or whatever on YouTube that was created by a young African American woman, and Charlie D'Amelio, who is the number one ranked TikToker, I guess, in terms of following, ripped off the dance, didn't give her credit as like the choreographer, and everyone assumed that she created it when in actuality it wasn't her. And then I guess Charlie, under a lot of pressure, ended up meeting with the original creator. And the creator, she's she's got a large following on TikTok, but not quite to that same level. So I think,
well, yeah,
giving
there's
people
been
credit is something.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of that going around, borrowing, stealing other people's creative content to build their audiences even more, and not even originating it. So I'd like to see more of that go away. If you're not going to, don't do that.
Give credit where credit's due.
Yes.
Reddit's going public now, and so we talk social media. It happened in the comedy world a lot. A lot of comedians that were really big in the late 90s, early 2000s, you don't hear from anymore because they got called out by different comedians saying, that's not your joke. And I think that it definitely needs to go there.
Oh, which brings me to who's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger? Kevin Hart. When you talk about comedians, Kevin,
well, not bigger in height. Not bigger in height.
Of course not. But we're talking about influence in so many ways with his new Netflix contract, and he's kind of venturing into drama. Have you seen his new movie limited series with Wesley Snipes?
I have it on my queue. I have not watched it yet. I'm gonna admit I've been watching Selling Sunset and then Selling Tampa recently on Netflix.
I saw the promos for that, but you're not gonna get me with that.
Well, it's something to have on the background while you're doing other things.
That's true.
Well, definitely let us know what you think in the comment section. What changes do you think really made waves in 2021 for communications and marketing professionals? What do you see as maybe the biggest trends heading into 2022? Definitely let us know. Be sure to search at Biz Communicator on all of our social media platforms. You can find us there, and we'll try to get a video of Hattie's dancing sometime soon. I think that's a must-have.
You've been listening to the Business Communicators.